Hello, beautiful. Welcome to the forecast for April 21st until April 27th. This is an action-packed week. That's going to be the theme. It's change, it's movement, it's action with a sprinkle of pleasure. Yes, there's going to be some fun times. We have a new moon in Taurus at the end of the week, so stick around all the way until Sunday. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And in the meantime, please do like, subscribe, hit that bell so you're notified every time a new video is available. Let me make this larger for you. Oh, we are not starting on Sunday. We are starting on Monday. Okay, so Monday, April 21st, powerful day because it's my birthday. So we are kicking off the week with my birthday. I just wanted to give a little side note here. So since this is my birthday, this is the birth chart for the rest of, the whole next year until my next birthday. This is what we call a solar return chart, a solar return reading. And this chart right here is basically my year ahead. This gives me the themes, the opportunities, the challenges, the everything. What is this next year about for me? And I am so lucky because I get to have a Mars opposite Pluto kind of a year. All right. So, anyways, let's come back into Monday. We have some major shifts that have happened, and it started last week, but it's still fresh and new. So let's kind of recap. But first things first, we have Sun in Taurus, and we've officially moved into Taurus season. And Taurus is an earth sign. It's a fixed earth sign. So there's a lot of stability here that's available to us, a lot of comfort, and also like leaning more into pleasure and play. So this is like the sprinkling of fun that we get amidst all of the fiery planets that we're going to be talking about too. So here we are being asked to also enjoy some of the fruits of our labor, indulge in, sensual experiences, things that really feel good to the touch and to sight, smell, be around nature, be around beauty, be around art, and enjoy the finer things of life. That is what the sun is about. And, another way to look at this too is, where is Taurus in your chart? What house is it over? And that shows us wherever the sun is for that whole month, that sector of your life, whatever house it's over, is actually more highlighted. It's more in focus. It has the most illumination because the sun is super bright. So I'm going to just give an example here. In this chart, you'll notice that sun is over the 10th house. And in this situation, that means the 10th house topics, 10th house themes are highlighted more. There's more energy there. There's more activation there. And so 10th house represents career and profession and work. And so for this hypothetical person, the themes of work are going to be more prominent for the next month, more action, more growth, more warmth, more light, all of that. So let us know where in your chart is Taurus over, what house is Taurus over, and what is getting activated for you. Okay. So that's our Taurus season, which is, more grounding in nature, more yin, more calming, more about enjoying this oneself and enjoying life. And with that flavor in the background, we definitely have a lot of other flavors happening. We need to talk about this T-square. This T-square is a lot, and it's going to be around the whole week, and it's going to reach the Mars-Pluto opposition. You'll see Mars on the left in Leo and Pluto on the right here in Aquarius, and you see a red line between them. You notice how the red line is kind of faint right now. Watch me click through the days. You'll notice how it gets darker and darker, and then like thicker. And on Friday is when it peaks, is when you see 3 degrees of Mars here and 3 degrees of Pluto in direct 180-degree opposition. So when they're facing off exactly like that, that is the peak of this energy. So we start getting it, on Monday, and so it's still present. Anything within that 10-degree orb, it's going to be activated and engaged, this opposition. Now, when we're talking about a Mars opposite Pluto, now we have Mars in Leo, which is a fire sign. Thankfully, we have had Mars leave Cancer, which was in its detriment. It's not in its happiest position in Cancer. And now it's in a more optimal position within a fire sign. And Mars in Leo is very exuberant. It's very passionate. It's very expressive. There's more confidence there. There's more charisma there. There is a need to just kind of be in front of the stage and showcase one's talents. So a lot bolder, a lot louder, a lot more enthusiastic and passionate. So thankfully we have that. And also I was saying that this can genuinely increase a lot of our vitality in our body, because this is it activates our energies. So if you're feeling a little bit more revved up like literally with physical energy, it's because Mars has now moved into Leo, and Mars is an indicator for our energy and vitality and our passion and our ambition and our drives. So you're going to see more of an activation with Mars and Leo of those things versus when Mars is kind of watered down by the Cancer sign. Now, Pluto is also a very intense planet of transformation, of incredible change. It's the death and rebirth. I mean, that whole cycle is very intense. I just think of a pregnant woman in labor and delivering a baby, right? There's a death and a rebirth, a new birth that happens, and it's messy and it's painful. Granted, we get this new life at the end, but the process itself is gut-wrenching, hard, and difficult. And so now we have these two intense planets facing off with one another. So, some of the positive things that it can bring is intense transformative change, like change that we need, change that's healthy. It can really activate and get that moving and get that going. So if we have a stubborn part of us that, by the way, this whole T-square, you've got Mars and Pluto in opposition, and then it's talking to the sun, right? So that's the T-square. Both of these planets are squaring the sun. So this is a lot of energy exchange between the three of them. But all these signs, Leo, Aquarius, and Taurus, are fixed, because there's different types of modalities. There's cardinal, fixed, and mutable. And fixed is basically the middle of a season. So it's like the middle of summer, right? It's the middle of winter. It's the middle of a season. It's when things are more stable and at its peak in that season. And so it doesn't like to change. That's the thing with fixed signs, is they don't like change. I find it interesting that we have all of this power, change, transformation, that these intense, young, moving, changeable types of planets here in the fixed signs. So this is how I see it. Whatever stubbornness that you've got, okay, whatever you're just holding on to dear life and trying not to change, I'm sorry, it's going to get blasted. It's going to get blasted between the Mars-Pluto and Sun T-squared. So get ready, okay? Put on your seatbelts. Get ready, because we are in the midst of so much change. I mean, look, we already had the Neptune crossing over into Aries, but now with this T-square and this Mars-Pluto opposition that's peaking this week, oh my gosh, it can bring a lot of obstacles. It can bring a lot of conflicts, a lot of struggles, and we're just going to have to move through it. One of the things, though, that I don't like about this Mars-Pluto opposition is it is an indicator for violence, especially senseless violence, where there's really no reason behind it. Annihilation is another word that you get from a Mars-Pluto opposition. We're already seeing all kinds of senseless violence out in the world. We'll probably get more of it this week, unfortunately. So some of the things to keep an eye out. This is pretty hairy. I would encourage you to be careful and not put yourself in, questionable places and situations. I wouldn't be operating dangerous machinery if I can avoid it at this time, especially on Friday at the peak. I mean, there's just way too much energy. So one of the things you could do is absolutely do some physical activity, or all of this energy can be funneled into some sort of creative project, a creative pursuit. This could absolutely activate your creativity too. And something just, gets birth through in this week for you too. So embrace the change, embrace the transformation, which ultimately is you embracing your growth and development. All right, so that's our T squared that we get to enjoy. Do you want to know what your next birthday year holds? Well, your birthday, it's not just another celebration. It's actually a powerful astrological moment. And what's in the sky on your birthday essentially is the birth chart for the entire year. It's when the sun returns to the same degree as when you were born. And so when we look at that chart on your birthday day, that basically reveals major themes, potential changes, and opportunities that are awaiting you. Whether we're looking at career shifts or moves or changes in relationships, you can get clarity on what's coming up ahead. So know the right moves to take. Know what energies you have available to work with. Don't navigate this next year blindly. Go ahead and book a solar return reading consultation down below in the link below, and you will know how to step forward in this next birthday year with clarity and confidence. Let's next move on to, oh, you know what? Actually, before I go on to the moon, I do want to talk about some of these other trines, and then we have a sextile. So Mars in Leo, right? It is way happier, more activated, more playful, even expressive, exuberant, passionate, creative. Creativity might be something that really just kicks up a notch for you. But it is in a nice conversation with all of these other planets. It is talking to Mercury, to Neptune, to Saturn, to the North Node, to Venus. Okay, it's going to be a bit closer to Neptune and Saturn and North Node, and Venus, well, these are all right on top of each other. So this is a harmonious conversation where all of that passion and drive and ambition and creativity is now like supporting, okay? It's supporting all of these other planets, supporting your sense of independence and individuality, right? And your self-expression, because Mercury is the planet of communication. And then when we're talking about Neptune, this can represent our dreams and our creativity and our spirituality. So increased passion for spiritual pursuits or creative pursuits are going to be present, as well as Mars in trine with Saturn. Saturn brings that sense of responsibility and order and structure and discipline and consistency and hard work, right? And so when we have Mars talking to all of these planets, it's kind of like a beautiful marriage of this initiatory type of energy, like getting your dreams started, getting your ideas started, right? And then also having that consistent follow through, and having the energy for consistent follow through is what Mars gives to Saturn. And then Mars with Venus in trine, that's also going to be a great indicator for like your creative life just really blossoming and expanding. So if you've been meaning to, write that book, or meaning to redesign your landscaping, I don't know, meaning to do something that is going to require your creative faculties, this would be a great season, especially with all of this Pluto talking to Mars, to get it going. Make time and space for it. I think you're going to be surprised at how easily it comes through and how it actually like rushes through you. Like it's almost like your creative projects and ideas can't be contained anymore. It can't be held back. It needs to be done. It has to happen. And you'll probably feel that sense of urgency with all of this fiery energy behind it. Okay, now, moon. Moon is in Aquarius, which tends to be, more of the like logical sign, more like rationalizing or analyzing one's feelings versus feelings one's feelings. However, it's next to Pluto. It's 7 degrees away from Pluto at this time, but it's going to meet Pluto probably earlier in this day. And so with the moon next to Pluto, you're going to feel all the intensity of everything I just talked about. So I don't expect Monday, even though we have this beautiful sun in Taurus, okay? But internally is going to be wildfires. It's going to be thundering. It's going to be storming. I mean, you're going to feel everything as look, Moon and Pluto next to each other. Moon is also in opposition to Mars, which Mars is communicating with all of these planets. And then you have this T squared. Basically, Moon is touching everything. And whatever Moon touches, it heightens and expands. So you're going to feel all the planets inside of you and all the things that the planets are going through right now. Because Pluto is part of that conversation with everything. I mean, Pluto's even in sextile with Neptune and Mercury. You see how Pluto is communicating with pretty much everything, either directly or indirectly. So all of the energies of the planets are getting funneled to the moon. So all this stuff I was just talking about, you're going to feel it like 5-10 times than normal because it is so intimately intertwined and absorbing all of the energies of all the planets. So I expect just this Monday to be very, very intense. It could be a great like extreme passion, extreme focus, extreme clarity, extreme like creativity and downloads. Or it could be very like angry or very irritable, frustrated. So it's a mixed bag. I just don't necessarily expect this to be calm and chill. That's all I'm saying. I mean, like I said, I know Moon's in Taurus, but there's so many other things going on right now that it's going to override the calmness of Taurus. So, okay, enjoy Monday. Okay, and that's supposed to be, by the way, that right there is supposed to be my year. That's the energy of my entire year. Lucky me. All right. So, Tuesday. So, Tuesday. We've got Moon still in Aquarius. Thankfully, we've got some distance here with Pluto, but it is in a little like sextile with Jupiter. That's really nice. That's going to bring at least some uplifting energy and some optimism and warmth and good for socializing. I feel like this is our needed like break from Monday. But this brings a bit more joy, a little bit more joy, looking forward to the future, being a bit more positive. Oh, we do have, though, a square to Uranus. Yay. So squaring the Uranus brings like sudden change and disruption. So we may have to emotionally deal with unexpected events that we've got to like work into our day. Thankfully, with Moon being in Aquarius here, we're going to be able to step back a bit. Whereas on Monday, we're feeling it all. Here, I think we're going to be able to have some distance from all that we just experienced on Monday and kind of see it more from a bird's eye view and rationalize through it as well. But yeah, just emotional disruptions or even just some kind of chaotic event that might turn up on Tuesday that we're just going to have to deal with. But I do feel the moon is in a better position to handle that on Tuesday versus when it was on Monday. Now, Wednesday, moon changes, all right? Moon goes into Pisces. Now it's in a water sign, and it's going to get closer to all of these other planets. But with moon in Pisces, we're going to have more sensitivity, more compassion. It's more yin, it's more reflective, it's more vulnerable and wanting to really connect on an intimate level with others. So good time for, cultivating relationships. It can also stimulate your creativity. I mean, it's in the same sign as all of these other planets like Venus, North Node, and Saturn. North Node is not a planet, it's just a point. But it getting closer to Venus, that can also, again, deepen those bonds with the people in our lives, bring connection and intimacy, but it can also increase your creativity as well. I think many of us are going to find a change and a change in our creative style. Something's going to shift, especially with this Neptune and Aries shift. Like it's going to change. It's going to change. All right. So we also have Moon in sextile with the Sun. Actually, wait, no, that's for Wednesday. Yeah, we're on Wednesday. So Moon is in sextile with this. Actually, no, wait. Yep, correct. It's light, but it's there. It's light, but it's there. That brings more harmonious feelings internally with the way that we're thinking. So there's a nice like connection between how we feel and how we think. Probably a good review time from the last couple of days, and we're starting to make sense of everything as well. Okay, so on Thursday, we're flying through this because we're going to have a really big new moon coming up in Taurus towards the end of the week. But on Thursday, we have moon that is now conjunct Venus. It's also conjunct the North Node. North Node does represent our soul's mission, what our soul is really like moving towards and wanting to learn. The North Node is essentially our gateway to our own evolution and our own enlightenment. So very, very powerful point. And with the moon touching all of this, okay, touching all of this, like this is us now prioritizing and emotionally connecting into our mission. You know, sometimes we know we have a kind of a purpose or a mission, but it might feel far away from our understanding or just far away from, you know, emotionally connecting to it and embracing it. Whereas on this day, we're going to dive into it. Okay, we're going to dive into it. We also have it conjuncting Venus, which brings that warmth and affectionate energy. It's going to also, again, strengthen our bonds with the people in our lives. It can also inspire creative activities too, nurturing yourself, indulging yourself. Look, Venus rules Taurus and Sun is in Taurus, and the fact that the moon is close to Venus and it's the ruler of Taurus, this tells me this would be a good day for pleasures. This is definitely a day that you have more opportunities for enjoyment and for play and for fun, or just things that feel good to you, whatever feels good, whatever feels nurturing and nourishing to your body and to your soul. This is the day you indulge in that. So indulge yourself here. It is also square Jupiter. This can bring, I would say, intensify our feelings too. It can intensify our feelings because Jupiter expands whatever it touches. It could also bring a desire for freedom. I would say it may expand your ability to indulge. So it's going to make it easier for those of us who have a hard time relaxing. Let me know down below in the comments if that's you. If you have a hard time relaxing and actually enjoying pleasure and play because you're constantly thinking about everything else you need to get done, or you're thinking about work, or you're thinking about your responsibilities and priorities. How many times have you gone to a massage and couldn't even like relax because you're thinking about so much stuff, right? Oh, no, not this day. With this square Jupiter and the way the moon is aspecting everything, you're going to be able to really deep dive into it and enjoy yourself. And then moon conjunct Saturn. So this can bring a little bit more introspective seriousness too, and this can bring some stability. That's how I view in this whole configuration, is that it's going to bring some sense of stability, which is really nice, so that you can just dive into your play and pleasure and feel a bit more grounded, okay? Feeling more grounded within yourself so that you can relax and surrender into play. Okay, very good. So that's our Thursday. Friday, my goodness. this is the peak of that Mars and Pluto opposition that I've been talking about. So this is where we're going to feel it at its strongest. This would be a day I would say, please don't do anything that could be dangerous, and don't operate things that are dangerous. Okay. Be extra careful. The amount of erratic, volatile energies that we're swimming in is just so much. Like, be careful when you're cooking, burning yourself, cuts, like these little things. There's more opportunity for those things to happen on Friday. So caution. Please walk with caution on Friday. And this is a very, very activated moon. Oh my gosh, the moon has so much going on. And I'm going to say, I'm not saying it's negative. It's just really, really busy. And it's having many conversations all at the same time. Like, you can see that this is in conjunct with all of these planets, even with the ones out of sign, they're all within 10 degrees. So moon is right next to you, only 2 degrees away from Mercury. Okay. It's 6 degrees away from Neptune. And it's, let's see, 9 degrees away from Venus and Saturn, and 10 degrees away from the North Node. So moon is having like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 conversations. A lot of conversations. It might even have more. So moon, let's first talk about Aries. Okay, moon is in Aries, so you're going to feel more energetic, more excited, more passionate, more vibrant, just in general. You're going to want to start things, initiate things. It has that initiatory type of energy. It is bold. It is adventurous. It is freedom seeking. It is independent. It is independent. It wants what it wants, and it's going to do what it wants. And with moon being so close to first, let's talk about Neptune. Neptune is already activated by Aries, and it is this is about pursuing your dreams, pursuing your desires, and they're going to be very like up close and personal, up front and center. The fact that moon is talking to Neptune, and Neptune's been in Aries since March 30th. So now you're going to like tap into what your Neptune has been playing with. Granted, it does take a year or two for Neptune to fully settle into a sign, because it's going to be here for 14 years. But guess what? It's been here for a couple of weeks by this point, 3 weeks by this point. So you'll be able to gather some information from the moon about what Neptune is experiencing and what Neptune is feeling, what those visions are, what those dreams are of your future, because we got a whole new future going on here for the next 14 years, one that we've never seen or could ever think of or dream of. So you're getting a ton of information from Neptune. And then with Mercury there, the planet of communication, I mean, let me tell you, like, you're going to be talking. You're going to be talking with all of this fire energy. Here we do need to like be careful, because sometimes we can get really carried away with Neptune and Moon and Mercury together in Aries. Aries tends to just do things without thinking. It's a risk taker, right? It's like, let me just jump into something and I'll figure it out along the way. It doesn't necessarily need to have a plan. But that's one of the, lower expressions of Aries, is that sometimes it's very impulsive and it's risk taking, not in a good way, but in a reckless way. So we want to make sure that we're not just like spewing things out without carefully considering things. At least, though, we do have Saturn in, somewhat of a conjunction here with the moon. It is 7 degrees away, and Saturn is way more practical, combing through the details. So at least we have that. At least we have that. Hopefully Saturn gives us enough of that grounding so that we're not just going off in some, delusional land about our visions and our dreams. That's what we need to be careful about is delusions. We want to dream, we want to have imagination, and we want to dream up something better and bigger than what we are currently experiencing, an improvement to what we're experiencing. Yet we also want it to be attainable, and also the right timing of things, because Saturn rules timing. So I feel like Saturn here does provide some like grounding, like if you think about a kite, if it doesn't have a string, it's just going to fly away, right? And Saturn is like the string that is allowing the kite to fly, but not fly off into the distance and then it's gone and you can't see it anymore. We can enjoy the kite. We can see the kite. We can play with the kite. We can dance with the kite when there's a string attached to it. And that's kind of how I see where Saturn is. Saturn is a string to all of these other planets that are happening in Aries. So that's quite an extended discussion. But Moon is also in trine with Mars. So that Mars-Pluto opposition that's at its peak right now that we just talked about, that is in now the moon is feeling all of that. Now it isn't a blue line, which is harmonious, which I'm happy to see. So that means like, okay, this is like the catalyst for change and transformation and drive and ambition. I mean, if you're not feeling driven and ambitious and excited and passionate on Friday, then I don't know. I don't know how you can, I don't think anybody's going to be able to just sit still on Friday. Something has to be done. Something wants to be done. It's a must. I mean, you can't contain this. I think of like if you're in a sauna and it's so hot and it's just so hot and you're like uncomfortable, you're getting dizzy, you're like, I need to get out. I need to get out of here. And then you leave the sauna because you don't want to faint, right? You don't want to have some sort of medical event going on. That's how I feel like all of this heat and pressure and energy, like it is going to move us into action, which is so timely because I'm going to be teaching a workshop for Rise and Thrive community called Yield into Yang. Make sure you join us if you're not part of Rise and Thrive. That's the best way to join and participate. Live workshops. Plus, you get the recordings lifetime if you can't make it exactly during the live workshop time. Okay, so that's our Friday. I hope that's plenty of information for you. Moon is also, let me see. It's also in sextile to Pluto. So it has this positive, it's light, it's faint. You see this little light like sextile. It looks like a star right here. And this is going to be helpful for the change and the transformation. I mean, I'm going to say it may not feel comfortable, just like that sauna, example that I gave. It's not comfortable when you're like extremely hot and you feel like you're going to pass out. It's not comfortable, but then it initiates the movement, initiates the change for you to leave. So expect some possible discomfort this week, like going into the unfamiliar, the unknown, uncomfortable. That's going to be normal. That's normal. Okay. All right. So that's our Friday. Let's go on to Saturday, and then we have our new moon in Taurus. Saturday, we have moon that is still in Aries, but it's in sextile to Jupiter, so I love it. It's so funny because I'm noticing this pattern, like we get this crazy intense day, and then the next day, here's a little softening for you. Jupiter can bring that like positivity and that warmth and compassion and like positive outlook on life. So whatever you went through on Friday, you're like, oh, that was a good thing. It was hard, but it was good. And this could all be happening internally, by the way. Okay, we may see it externally, but we may just see it internally. Like you internally go through some sort of purification this week. And that's the thing with Pluto. Look, it's still at its peak here on Saturday. Pluto is about detoxification and purification and detoxing the waste in our lives, detoxing what's expired. That's what Pluto does. And with Pluto and Mars, it's like burning it. It's searing it. It's burning it away out of our lives. What is toxic, what is waste, what is no longer useful for us. So it's not taking up space in our lives and in our energy fields. So, but Saturday, at least we get this nice hint of Jupiter supporting our moon. Now on Sunday, this is new moon. It's a new moon. And we have a new moon in Taurus. It's happening at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. So it's happening during the daytime. It's at 7 degrees and 46 minutes. In Taurus, new moon is when we give new birth. I almost feel like this whole week we were going through that, like I was saying, like a detoxification, purification process, like a cleansing process, and also an activating process of what we are here to initiate. And then right here, it's like now we got the seeds. Now it's the planting of the new moon seeds here on Sunday. And you know what Taurus is, if you recall what I mentioned? It's about stability, it's about growth, it's about consistency too. And it's also about pleasure and enjoying the fruits of our labor. So, one of the ways that I see this is like, okay, what kind of pleasure and play, or your dreams, right? Are you ready? Because we had Moon, having this incredible discussion over here in Aries. Like, what kind of dreams and aspirations are you ready to plant that is going to require consistent effort and hard work? That's the thing. Taurus to me, I might be biased because, I'm a Taurus sun. um, and I have like 4 planets in Taurus. Taurus has this grounding, stable, consistent effort kind of presence to it. But not only does it know how to consistently show up and work hard, but doing it's like in reverence to the earth. Okay, it does that, but it also at the same time understands pleasure, and it understands play. It knows how to enjoy the fruits of its labor. It understands how to it's chill like a bull, right? It knows how to relax. And so I find Taurus to be a pretty cool combination of both. And so what are you going to plant in this new moon season, in this Taurus new moon, that you're going to consistently show up for? The vision, the dream, the creative project that you're going to consistently show up for, that will yield such abundant fruit. Like in the springtime, this is spring season, right? Things are blossoming and blooming, so you can enjoy the flowers, so you can enjoy the fruits. So, what is worthy of you investing your effort and your time and energy and your consistent hard work in? What is worth it? Where at the end of that, you get to really like enjoy the fruits and taste the sweetness of all of your efforts. So that's the spirit of Taurus for you. So take some time for that. And it is also about financial stability. I want to mention that too, because Venus rules Taurus, and Venus Taurus has to do with finances. It has to do with money. It has to do with financial stability. And so that's something that is being called in this new moon, is what can you do to support that, to support financial peace, financial strength, stability, okay, and growth as well, blossoming fruit, right? So what can you do in your financial life to nourish and support it? So that's going to be another thing that this new moon season is calling for. And here's the thing though, we do have that T-square still. We do have that T-square because you've got Mars and Pluto in that opposition, and it's now getting a little less intense than on Friday and Saturday, because you notice, look, Mars is at 4 degrees and Pluto's at 3 degrees. So it's not exact 180, but it's 179 degrees away. So it's going to start to lessen as the days move forward, especially into next week. But everything we talked about, this transformation and change, like the new moon seeds that you plant here have the power of Pluto and Mars into it. Okay. It is funneling all of that energy of drive, ambition, passion, and change, transformation. So the way that I see this is that the new moon seeds you do plant are indeed going to yield a great harvest, because and if you think about Pluto is that planet of transformation. It's about the death and the rebirth. It's think about composting, right? Messy, ugly process, but composting is associated with the Pluto. But ultimately, we need to break those components down of food waste. It gets composted, and then we have all of the nutrients available for the new growth. And so It's a very fertile, rich background that this new moon in Taurus has, and it's adding to it. So choose wisely, okay, and be very intentional. Take the time today to write out your new moon seeds. And then, of course, we get the full moon next month to see some of the fruits of your labor. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me for this week's forecast. And please do share away if anyone will benefit from this information. And we will see you next week. Your birthday is not just another birthday. It's actually a powerful astrological moment, and it sets the tone for the entire year. Basically, when the sun returns to the exact same degree as when you were born, and you take a look at what planets are in the sky at that moment, that is the birth chart for the entire year. So this reveals major themes and potential changes and opportunities that are waiting for you. What's amazing about this is that you get a strategic roadmap on how to navigate your year and knowing what areas of your life are in major focus, what are these expected transitions, and what energies do you have to work with. I'm an experienced astrologer, healer, and I work with elemental medicine, and I transfer astrological insights into very practical guidance. So decode your year ahead and go ahead and book a solar return reading, and that is in the link down below so that your path forward is illuminated.